Hey everybody, Rob Maurer here, and today we are talking again about Tesla's production status. We have some news, some of it conflicting, about that status in Fremont. Then we have a couple of quick news items to cover at the end as well. But Tesla stock on the day today so far, I'm about 10 minutes before close, is up about 5% to $819 or so, compared to the Nasdaq up about 1.4%, which, by the way, means that for the year to date, the Nasdaq has now turned positive. Pretty crazy. Alright, so as we've been talking about, today is Friday, May 8th. For the state of California, this represents the beginning of Phase 2, which allows for manufacturing to restart, provided that certain safety measures have been put in place. So from this morning, we had a CNBC report on a leaked email from Tesla's HR team going out to all employees. And in this email, they say that Tesla is attempting to restart production at about 30% of their normal headcount per shift in Fremont. The key quote here reads, quote, "Starting tomorrow, May 8th, 2020, limited operations will resume at the Fremont factory, starting at 30% our normal headcount per shift. You will be contacted via email or phone by your manager or HR with details on your specific start date and time. Our gigafactories in Nevada and New York have also begun limited operations as approved by their respective states. Similarly, sales, service, and delivery, as well as energy operations, have been gradually coming back online on a state-by-state basis," end quote. So this email was sent out sometime yesterday, May 7th, and to justify this, Tesla says, quote, "The state of California released new guidelines today permitting certain critical infrastructure, including manufacturing, to gradually resume operations. This includes Tesla's Fremont factory and supporting manufacturing facilities. Additionally, Alameda County, where the Fremont factory is located, states in its shelter-in-place order FAQs that distributed energy resource manufacturing, which includes electric vehicles, solar and battery storage, is permitted to operate," end quote. So keep that Alameda County FAQ in your mind because I want to come back to that in a second, but here just to read my last quote. This is again reported by CNBC as a leaked email, this time from Elon Musk, saying, quote, "In light of Governor Newsom's statement earlier today approving manufacturing in California, we will aim to restart production in Fremont tomorrow afternoon. I will be on the line personally helping wherever I can. However, if you feel uncomfortable coming back to work at this time, please do not feel obligated to do so. These are difficult times, so thanks very much for working hard to make Tesla successful," end quote. So 2 emails here, both from Tesla's HR team and from Elon Musk, saying that they plan to restart production today, May 8th, in Fremont based on Phase 2 of California's state guidance. However, what we have heard and what we've been talking about is that that state guidance allows the flexibility for individual counties to make more strict restrictions if they so choose. Unfortunately for Tesla's desires to restart production, Alameda County has been one of those counties that has been enforcing stricter regulations and has not yet moved into Phase 2. Okay, but what about the distributed energy resource manufacturing that Alameda County said was allowed in their shelter-in-place order FAQ that Tesla's HR team is citing here? Well, if we actually open up that FAQ, it seems the question that Tesla is likely referring to is, quote, "My business installs distributed solar, storage, and/or electric vehicle charging systems. Can it continue to operate?" Then the answer to that question is, quote, "Yes, this is permissible construction activity and must comply with the construction project safety protocols in Appendix B of the order. Businesses may also operate to manufacture distributed energy resource components like solar panels." Now, if we flip back to Tesla's email from the HR team, they say that Alameda County, quote, "states in its shelter-in-place order FAQs that distributed energy resource manufacturing, which includes electric vehicles, solar and battery storage, is permitted to operate," end quote. So if we look closely at that, there is a difference between what Alameda County says in that FAQ and what Tesla says in this email. Alameda County doesn't specifically mention electric vehicles, they don't mention battery storage, but they do mention solar. I think it would be hard to argue against battery storage if solar is included, but electric vehicles I could see falling into a different category from the county's perspective. I'm not sure if you would classify an internal combustion engine vehicle as a distributed energy resource, and until Tesla's vehicles have vehicle-to-grid technology, the use case is similar to an ICE vehicle. So it looks like Tesla may be sort of loosely interpreting what is said in that FAQ, can't blame them for that. And later in the day today, we got more clear-cut information from Alameda County's interim health officer, Dr. Erica Pan. County officials for Alameda County held a Zoom call today with a Q&A, and a heavily asked question in that Q&A was the status of Tesla. In response to whether or not Tesla had been cleared to restart production, she said, quote, "We have not given the green light," end quote. And then when asked when things may head in that direction, she said, quote, "We anticipate over the next week that people can really start thinking and planning for that next step," end quote. So from Dr. Pan's perspective, they now view Alameda County as being sort of in stage 1.5, and moving into that stage 2 within a couple of weeks here. Basically, they're wanting to wait and see what the data shows from their limited opening up of things into this quote-unquote stage 1.5. So we appear to again be at a crossroads with Tesla and the county. It seemed like a month ago where we were in a similar situation with Tesla trying to work under being federally essential, the county not being for that, and Tesla eventually shutting production down. This time though, the momentum is clearly in the other direction. You could tell that there was pressure on this Zoom call, and that pressure is only going to increase as other things around Alameda County start to open up. It just doesn't make a lot of sense for some of these other non-essential businesses to be opening up when Tesla can't, because Tesla has the experience from China of how to handle this situation properly. So we'll just have to keep an eye on this over the weekend. I'm sure we'll hear more reporting on it, but clearly things are starting to open up. We just heard from Apple today that they will be reopening some stores in the United States as early as next week. So I think whether it's today or whether it's next week or whether it's May 18th, a production restart at Fremont is appearing imminent. The other interesting factor here is that as the HR email stated from Tesla, they plan to work at 30% of their normal headcount per shift. So when production is restarted, clearly it's not going to go back to 100% the day of. The setup at Fremont is obviously a bit different than the setup at Gigafactory Shanghai, but it did seem like Tesla was able to return to a pretty full workforce there pretty quickly. And obviously the circumstances are very different, but hopefully Tesla can take some of the learnings from that process to accelerate getting back to full production. Alameda County seems to like these 2-week windows where you start some sort of expansion and then you wait a couple of weeks to see how that impacts the data. And then, okay, you do another expansion, wait a couple more weeks. So for Tesla's case, maybe they do something like 30% for these first couple of weeks. And then if things go well, maybe they bring that up to 60, 65%. And then if that goes well for a couple more weeks, maybe sometime mid-June, we could see something like full staffing. Obviously, that's pretty speculative, but coming to it from the county's perspective, I think they would view a situation like that as probably the best case scenario. Moving on then, we do have a couple more updates. These are coming from Elon on Twitter. Third Row was asking whether they could add a section in the odometer to include how many miles the car has actually driven on autopilot. Elon said okay to that. Then some ensuing conversation led to Third Row saying, quote, Elon, a bunch of Tesla drivers outside California complained to me that some of the speed limits / map data on exit lanes, etc. aren't always accurate, and it's a pain in the butt for them. Works well here in California, plans to improve map data or read speed limit signs. And Elon responded, quote, yes, this is a high priority, end quote. Quite a few things mentioned in that first tweet, so it's not exactly clear what Elon is referring to as a high priority from that, if not all of it. But he did offer a little bit more, at least clarification for us in terms of what to expect, to Everyday Astronaut, who asked, why can't the camera read the speed limit signs? There's been a lot of speculation on Tesla's lack of implementation of this because of a patent that Mobileye has on a similar process, but Elon seems to not be concerned about that, or Tesla has a way around it, because Elon said, quote, coming soon, end quote. Personally, not too surprised by that. If we've been listening to any of the comments that Elon has been making around full self-driving, obviously it needs to interpret speed limit signs, so clearly that was on the feature set list to be implemented at some point. Another quick feature update, somebody asked, quote, can we also get side view cameras on the main screen when we use a blinker? Elon said, quote, that's harder than it sounds. We'll check with team, end quote. A couple other quick stories here. The first is on an executive departure from Tesla. Personally, I don't tend to care about these except for a select few, but it is generating some headlines. So we heard from Manager Magazine today that they are reporting that Tesla's Vice President of Europe, Middle East, and Africa, and their Vice President of Global Supply Chain, Sasha Zand, is leaving the company, and they say, quote, insiders report disputes with Musk, end quote. Okay, wouldn't be the first time. I'm sure it won't be the last time. The timing is a bit funny because last time Elon was on the Joe Rogan podcast, of course, Tesla's chief accounting officer that had been hired just a month prior to that interview, well, he decided to quit. That sparked a lot of attention, but I think Tesla has done just fine since then. Obviously, the stock has, doubled or tripled. Last thing today is on the energy business. We have some news coming from Sunrun, which is now the largest installer of solar in the United States. Their Twitter account tweeted, quote, big news, Sunrun is helping Americans take control of their home energy. You can now back up your entire home with Tesla Powerwall, ensuring power to your home, office, kitchen, and everything your family needs to stay safe and comfortable during blackouts, end quote. Sunrun really seems to be committing to this, at least from their social media marketing perspective. They've actually made the Tesla Powerwall their background on Twitter, and they've changed their description on Twitter to read, quote, now offering whole home backup, end quote. It looks like this will be weaved into the pricing of the solar system. Sunrun says, quote, through Sunrun's premium Brightbox solar storage service, You can now get whole home backup with Tesla Powerwall for as little as $0 down, end quote. So Tesla here working with a retailer/distributor. Those would generally be things you do when production is high and you are looking to move a lot of product. So hopefully a nice sign for production on the energy side of the business. We also heard from a demand perspective that there was sort of an inflection point reached from utility scale. So all the stars kind of lining up here for the second half of 2020 and early parts of 2021. You've got Gigafactory Shanghai ramping, you've got Model Y ramping, you've got solar roof, Powerwalls, utility scale energy storage with Megapack. We've got margins going up, then we have full self-driving, both deferred revenue and more ability to recognize more of that revenue up front as Tesla delivers more and more features. And of course, we've got Battery Day coming up, which will give us more insight into sort of the next 6 to 12 months. So macro conditions set aside, things are looking really good for Tesla right now. That'll wrap it up for the week. Thank you for listening. If you are getting value out of this podcast and you're interested in supporting, you can find more details about doing that at patreon.com/Tesla Daily Podcast. Otherwise, have a great weekend, and I'll see you on Monday for the May 11th episode of Tesla Daily. Thank you.